I think the transition from linear to streaming is both a blessing and a curse, right? Like obviously everyone pines for the days of the bundle where we all just sat back and money was made, people just watched it, and there was you weren't spoiled by choice to a certain extent. But I think what streaming does allow you to do is actually cater to each audience segment in a way that matters to them. I'm a huge Formula One fan. Haven't missed a race in close to 30 years at this point in time. And I wake up anxious about the race. If it's an
Hmm.
afternoon race in New York, I'm like, my gosh, my morning is ruined because now I'm just like,
Hmm.
I wish it was just starting as soon as I woke up. But there are others on Reddit who primarily engage on Reddit through highlights, clips, community content, discussion. And, from my perspective, you need to cater to all different types of fans, right? You can't just expect people to watch it the way everyone's used to watch. And if you think about the future fan, as you're talking about, there are going to be more fans like that than the ones that are just used to watching races for decades in a certain format. The beauty of streaming is that it actually allows you technology lends itself to both, not both, like 10 different types of fan personas. And frankly, the technology exists today to enable that as well. It's just a matter of how ambitious are you in terms of your product development. I'm curious, even since the time you started with the idea of Buzzer, which is now, it's crazy to think it's 5 years ago,
Hmm. Hmm.
have you seen any noticeable shift even since then? Because you've been talking about the future of media consumption since your time at Twitter. You obviously built a company around that thesis. And now you're on to Transmit, which is sort of catering on the same themes, but in a different format from a monetization standpoint. Have you seen any noticeable shift even since then?
I mean, one noticeable shift is Bob Iger coming up on the Disney upfronts and saying that you're going to get more content or more live sports on the ESPN streaming or the
Yeah,
ESPN flagship than on cable. That's a huge
that's
shift, right? And
momentous. Yeah.
so when you're thinking about live sports or media rights in general, there is one very specific driver in driving their current value right now is scarcity, right? The fewer places that you can watch it, the more premium it is. There are some exceptions, like the NFL, where you know they have a ton of surface areas in terms of where you can watch an NFL game, and in a certain point, it gets a little bit confusing. But they've also done a tremendous job of owning Sunday, owning Monday night, owning Sunday night, and they
Yeah.
have also established owning Thursday night,
I mean,
right?
every,
But
and the Christmas
every day
holiday
now,
and the,
Christmas, Black Friday.
yeah.
So NFL is certainly the exception, not the rule. But as you have mentioned, we've left the bundled era of cable and entered an era of unbundled on-demand world, right? Where yet, the ad models have not evolved, right? That's where we come in at Transmit, is that we're building monetization formats that are flexible, that are non-intrusive. It's designed for people of how they actually consume. But taking a step back, when you're looking at the new era of media consumption, what defines this new era are three things: it's control, context, and community, right? Fans are no longer passive viewers, they're active curators. They don't tune in, they summon content through algorithms, through alerts, through, I'm sure you have group chats on on Sunday with your boys watching F1,
Yeah.
right? And because attention is fragmented, right? But and the unit of value has shifted from the game to the moment, right? And so I think that the industry needs to adjust, but there's also the price of adjustment or the price of innovation is very, very high, right? I alluded back to Bob Iger talking about putting an emphasis on streaming. There is a real opportunity cost of putting more emphasis on the streaming product than the actual legacy cable product, right?
Yeah.
Because the legacy cable affiliate bundle is business model is still a massive business driver for Disney, and as with for every broadcast partner out there. So there is an opportunity cost, and I think one of the biggest difficulties in running and operating Buzzer, a consumer first, consumer facing product, was that sports rights continue to get more and more expensive,
Yeah.
right? Because they had to upkeep the broader ecosystem, which is very much linear driven, and
Yeah.
so that definitely took what was one of the considerations of making the difficult decisions to wind down the company.
Yeah.
But I'm still very much optimistic about the future as different products are out there. It's certainly the industry has shifted from the linear to streaming world, and that's why I'm so excited about the opportunity ahead of us at Transmit because we have built a streaming first monetization product for the last 8 years and have tremendous amount of learnings that account for that.